Hi guys! So today I would be speaking about numbers 3, 6, and 7. So let's get started. Number 3 is to talk about the intellectual disabilities and the causes. There are two types of intellectual disability. One is severe intellectual disability, which is a person with an IQ of 40 or less who also has learning and adaptive problems. The second severe disability is profound intellectual disability, which is a person with an IQ of less than 20 or below who also may have physical or neurological problems. So with the severe problem, it's a person who has learning and adaptive problems. So it's a lot harder for them to grasp things. It's a lot harder for them to understand and process the things that are being learned. With profound intellectual disability, they are not only affected like in the mind, but they're also affected in the body. You might see somebody with profound severe disability in a wheelchair or using a cane because they either have problems with their legs, have problems writing, have problems with their fine motor skills. So those are definitely some effects to intellectual disability. There are a few causes. Some can be physical traumas if they are abused as a small baby, if they are beaten, and if they get injuries in the head that could cause brain damage. That can be one of the causes. Fetal alcohol syndrome or drugs, if a mother is drinking throughout her pregnancy or using drugs throughout her pregnancy, that could definitely affect the baby, and that could affect the baby's mind and brain and affect how the baby learns how to it's harder for the baby to learn as they get older because their brain is affected by the alcohol or the drugs. Another cause is brain tumor. If the baby is dropped as a child, depending on how the baby hits its head and how hard the impact was, that could definitely affect the baby's brain. And like I said, like as a baby, the head is super like tender, so it could definitely cause a brain damage. Diseases such as meningitis can affect the baby. If the baby isn't taken care of, if it's malnourished, if it's maltreated, and it doesn't get the proper shots to, fight back off these diseases, that could affect the baby's growth, that could affect the baby's brain. So that would be my answer for number 3. Number 6 is talk about the importance of the community as an educational setting for individuals with intellectual disability. We as a community should come together to help kids with intellectual disabilities and adults as well. Excuse me, sometimes either the parents are too busy to help them, so we can like have different hands extending out to that specific child or adult who needs help, and we can still help them and like continue to learn, continue to navigate, continue to get the proper tools they need in order to complete their goals in the classroom and outside the classroom. If teachers are reaching to these kids, and parents sometimes are busy but they are also outreaching to these kids, we as a community need to outreach to these kids and help them, because sometimes they might feel alone or they might feel scared because they're like, well, why am I learning at a different and much slower rate than my classmate? So we need to encourage them and give them the support they need and the encouragement they need to want to learn, to not give up on learning, because like I said before, they are learning at a much slower rate. So for them it's harder, and it takes a lot of patience, but as a community we can all help together and join together to help them learn the tasks they need to do, how to hold a pencil, how to process things, how to finish their task, how to focus back if they're being distracted by something. A child with a severe learning disability, it is hard for them as well. They get frustrated very easily, they get angry very easily, but we as a community can help the parents. Sometimes the parents, they lack faith and they're like, we're trying everything, but as a community we can support them and be like, hey, you're doing the best you can. So I think the community is very important because we shouldn't just rely on the teachers and the parents. We as friends, as relatives, should come together and help that person, because when they grow up, they have the tools they need to be prepared for the real world. So that's my answer for number 6. Community is very important. The community is number 7 is like the teaching methods and the materials that a teacher can use in the classroom. So some of the things I jotted down is like we could put the child in a small a small group. The child can learn their social skills that can help the child advance in social skills. So if a teacher is helping another kid, the student doesn't freak out and say, oh my god, like I don't know how to do this. Like there's a classmate like right next to him or her, and they could be like, hey, listen, like if you need help, talk to me. And they could talk, they could chit chat, they can see what ways is better for the child to learn, and get through the homework or get through the work that's being presented to them. Another thing is, depending on the learning disability, there's technology. Technology is advancing so far ahead in its time. We have communication boards now in case the child can't speak. They could type it out. We have voice synthesizers that in case the child wants to be heard, they could type it out and then press enter, and there's a computer that's speaking for them. We also have like little clips we can show them of different settings, whether it be work settings, environmental settings, classroom settings, and the child could see the different clips and see visually see the perspectives of different environments and different settings that the child might be put in. We can also, as teachers, we can get the parents involved. It is super important to get the parents involved, because if a teacher is just teaching, and then the student goes home and he's just watching TV, like that's not helping him, He's going to fall more and more behind. So as teachers, we should get the parents involved, because the parents can collaborate with the teachers. So whatever the student learns in the school, he can also be encouraged to learn it at home, and that would want him or her to want to continue learning. Like, hey, mom's helping me with this, dad's helping me with this, Miss so-and-so or Mr. so-and-so is helping me with this, like encouraging him or her. Like, of course they're going to get frustrated. Of course they're going to feel like they're going to get angry, because, it's hard, especially a person with a severe learning disability. But as parents, they can like support them and say, you know what did Miss or Mr. so-and-so teach you today? Okay, well, let's focus on this. Let's do a couple practices on this. So it could help them a lot, and help them, not catch up to the other students, but, slowly by slowly work and process through it. So those are my answers for numbers 3, 6, and 7. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.